YouTube page and stuff like that. I love Braveheart. I thought it was a great movie. Wouldn't say love anymore, actually. I think I can conclude that it's not the happiest ending at all. It's a very dark age. Medieval times are dark ages, and it sure is. It's sad. There's corruption across the board throughout the peasants, throughout the government, which is the king, and in France, and there's war all over the world. It seems, at least within the faith of Christianity specifically, because you don't see other religions there. You have the heavy Christian tones, medieval ages, dark times. So I concluded in the end that Wallace really is he's a savage, like England is saying, and he may lack some sort of intelligence. But then in parts of the movies you see him speaking different languages, so it's very interesting. It's got a lot of ideas and stuff like that, but I do think he went wrong ultimately because of the secret wedding. And it sounds interesting, but he's trying to be a step above all the men, I think, with that idea. He doesn't realize it. He thinks he's doing the right thing because he's following his heart. But why have the secret wedding? Now, you can probably confirm this. Once again, this is just in theory. Take it with a grain of salt. He picks up Murrin, who was very young, you would assume at least, compared to Wallace, at least by looks in the movie, right? He's very super masculine even, long hair, he looks maybe about 30, maybe even 40 years old, while Murrin could pass for maybe 20 by the movie, you know? But then you have the early childhood flower scene too. So is this the same little girl from the flower scene? If so, that makes things, it's not good, in my opinion, for the Scottish people and William Wallace. Immensely too young for the heart is fine, but to marry this woman and sleep with her sexually doesn't seem like it's mixing, okay, at all. At least for with me. So deep thoughts there. Not very good at all. So, oh wow, that's hard. Now I lost track a little bit. He has this secret wedding, so he's on the horse. Let's get back on track. I hope. Thank you. And he sees her parents as it's raining. The rain's falling straight down, isn't it? Yeah. And the mom says, no, not right now. In other words, I just watched the scene. And the father says, not right now, maybe later, he says. So they don't hate Wallace, they like Wallace. But Murrin immediately gets on the horse, naive, like a teenage girl, actually. Not really listening to her parents. She likes Wallace. She's attracted to him. She likes him. And she gets on the horse and he doesn't listen. He should have said, let's sit down and eat dinner with your mom and dad. He doesn't, though. He takes on the horse, they're laughing, and they're having this frolicking, romantic relationship without permission of her parents. And this is how problems start, and this is probably what the war is really about in general, in the whole movie. You think the king is the super bad guy there, but he's the king. Now, the king has his issues, as you can see. His men are raping the women. They're fucked up. The prince isn't manning up. We need divinity. The whole thing is begging for God to help everybody. It really is, for divine intervention. But the people aren't acting divine at all. So let's move forward. He has this secret wedding with this priest. Must be corrupt as well. Because we assume that's a priest, right? But it doesn't look like he has a church with him. So who was the man that wed him? Whoa. Now in secret in a forest. While at an earlier point in the movie, his friend, the one that punches him in the face during the rock toss incident, has a wedding, right? With another beautiful woman. I believe it's his friend as well. With a beautiful, maybe I would say more fertile, more mature woman with a tiara in her hair, right? Representing, maybe I like to say, the goddess Hera of Greek mythology, but it's really representing divinity, I think, the tiara, right? That you are now, one with you are enlightened, maybe. It could be things like that. That's the idea I get. And you're ready to be married. And that's, it's a beautiful tiara she has on too, a beautiful woman, and a great scene too there. And all the Scottish people, or the group of Scottish people, are happy at that moment. The English, I assume, if I recall correctly, call her over and kind of put a pause to the wedding. Suffering begins in Christ, in Catholicism. We understand the concept of suffering, at least we do, because sometimes you have to wait and you have to suffer, and that is due to the problem with the English army right now. So, now if they fight and she resists sleeping or whatever the English man wants with that woman, maybe he just wants information. They don't show you the scene, you don't know. But of course, we get the idea he was going to rape her. She, it's a slow scene, and then she calms down her man, and she goes with the English guard. I believe, if I recall correctly, once again, and then she remains married. Now they're still pissed off about this, but he does turn the other cheek. There, the wedding stops. They suffer, and they go on. And so we know what's going on. People know what's going on. Now, instead of killing them savagely, you could have wrote a letter. So I think, being a postman, you could have alerted someone, you could have told someone else, The king, seemingly, if you're not going to get help from anyone, they must not be praying. That must be, I'm pretty much concluding that now. You're not telling anyone what's going on here. Why not? Maybe you guys are corrupt as well. So lots of those ideas go through my brain too. So then the secret wedding. And I'm sorry for being all over the place with this. The secret wedding. Why, William? Why didn't you just, because you didn't want to share her with the English, and neither did she. But where's her mother and father then? So Wallace, who's the star of the movie, and this is where movies are getting wild to me, the star doesn't mean they're a good guy. That's extremely interesting, right? As I grow older, I see that. That's Hollywood. What makes Hollywood even better in my older ages, which makes me really want to watch some movies lately. And analyze them, especially with somebody that would be amazing, like your mate or somebody you loved, that really got you mentally, because that's what movies make you think. Now, when I was a kid, there were movies that would blow my mind so much, warp my brain. I'd start smoking weed thinking about it, because I got into an argument with, a baby girlfriend from the past, something that, because I wasn't mature enough to handle that psychological, mature, R-rated content. Another thing, if any parents are watching, you gotta watch out with that rated R. It means a lot. It's very strong, and so do I too. So take my videos, just be very careful, and we all should as well. Especially, it's not easy though. So that rated R, this is rated R too. Then not for kids. Just it's deep tone. So gotta take it easy more. Okay, I love you, but thank you. I hope that's okay with everybody. So okay, and then the end. So he's wrong. The father says maybe later. We like you, William. Give it some time. Be patient. That's the thing. That's not easy, okay? So then you have the obvious issues with the king, the Princess of Wales, and the king's son. But that's another tangent, because I believe the problem is William Wallace, who is known as a savage, really. So he did have heart, and we see that. And maybe they did need to fight more, the Scottish. But if you were William Wallace, right? Would you want it to end like that? No, you would have wanted to be married to Murray and be happy, have a family. Like he says at the beginning of the movie, I don't want to fight, I want to have a family. He says this. And you want to have peace and love. Movies over war and violence. It does. Even if you gain the knowledge of peace and love through war and violence. But you're hoping for that heaven. Now, if William or Murray, who bites the English guard that's raping her ear, she bites the face of the English guard that was raping her, right? She bites it. So that triggers the whole thing. Now the whole town sees, all the guards see, the guards are alerted. Here we go, problem, we're at war. Now we're at war. Because she resisted the filth of the English guard, who was a Satan as well, who was an Antichrist as well, right? So that starts to work. Everyone sees it. It's sad. It's a great scene too, because she acts incredible. If it even is acting, I don't even know at this point. And so does Mel Gibson. I'm sorry for not getting her name. She just looks scared, like it was me. What's up? Let's fucking do this. She's pissed off. She's angry too. I'm tired of this shit. But if she turned the other cheek, what would have happened? All right. And if we understand as Catholics and Christians that, and the confidence as a man, Mel Gibson, just say, okay, this guy's a disgusting, gross piece of shit. Everybody knows this. We unite with France, and eventually this motherfucker is going to go down, and things will change. If you stuck to the roots of Catholicism, which isn't easy, it's very hard. You would know that, via St. Joseph, you're the man at the end of the day and she loves you. You hope that, though, because that's confidence and faith and praying down to the Lord, to the God of life, not the God of evil or death or rape or lust or force or, So, but instead she fights. And you want to fight too, but it was futile. It was futile, It was ignorant, it's sad because she's in such a position, and so was Wallace. And I hope that wouldn't happen to me, but sometimes it does. It's and we're human at the end of the day. So once again, divinity is needed there. But it could have been avoided. Now, to conclude my whole theory, and it took a while to get to this conclusion. This is about the 6th or 7th time I recorded this video, and I think I can close it off here finally. For once again, movie psychology or philosophy on the movie Braveheart. A great movie, great movie. I wouldn't call it a classic because of I don't really like the ending too much, but it's a great movie. It's very psychological and could pave the way to a great movie or a better life or better ideas for the world. So at the very end of the movie, he holds the cloth. It's not a ring, it's a cloth. And that's interesting too. He holds it in his pocket because it's very hard to wear a ring. It really is. I'm not sure why. That's why I think it's divine at the end of the day. You're showing the world that you want to be married. You're letting people know that. And in doing that, if a woman comes along to me that isn't my wife or who I desire, I push them away. So you let them know. You're letting them know. He's holding a cloth. It's not a cloth ring that wraps around his hand. And people say, well, why do they wear the ring? It doesn't make any sense. It lets people know. It's represent. So when Maureen is raped, I don't think she has a ring on. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe she does. She probably has the cloth, yeah. So now the whole Scottish town doesn't know you're married to Wallace. You have absolutely no protection from the people. Wallace is wrong once again. And of course, God ultimately, for creating Wallace this way, why did he fuck up? We got to find out why. And it's sad the way he dies, too. So, God's right at the end of the day, because God's always right. Wallace fucked up, but you would have hoped that God divinely intervened. And maybe that was his way of intervening, because maybe and he woke up from a nightmare. As he dies, with his head chopped off, he does have his face turned, like he turns his other cheek, let's say, to Marin, sees Marin just working, and you see him, he drops the cloth, and then he's decapitated. Now, you can imagine and hope that at that point, he's in the afterlife with Marin, and does that change that she was raped by the English guard? It doesn't. It just, he accepts it and forgives it and still loves her anyway. And now he can be happy in the afterlife as he wakes up from a heck of a nightmare. I love you.